You know that scene when you're at your dining room table past midnight, statements scattered everywhere, phone calculator glowing in your hand, running the same totals again and again, like maybe this time the outcome will be different? You've got the mortgage or the rent due, the auto draft for your car, groceries that somehow cost more every week, electric and water bills, insurance premiums, school expenses, and medical costs that never seem to level off. And you're staring at the page wondering, how is this sustainable? How is everyone else managing this without losing their mind? You're earning respectable money, you're not flying first class or buying designer everything, and still it feels like you need something closer to $75,000 a year just to stay afloat. Here's what really matters. This isn't a character flaw. It isn't laziness or poor budgeting. There is something structurally off about how expensive basic life in America has become. Most people are living inside a genuine affordability crisis without even labeling it that way. I spend an unhealthy amount of time studying why people feel perpetually broke in the wealthiest nation on earth. If you've been working harder every year but feel like you're sliding backward financially, stick with me. And if this clarifies why your savings account refuses to grow, consider subscribing and sharing this with someone who needs to see the numbers laid out clearly. Before we unpack the math that's quietly redefining middle class life, let me ask you something. When you imagine a normal middle class existence, what do you picture? Probably a modest home or apartment, a dependable vehicle, enough groceries without checking every label, and the ability to visit a doctor without fearing bankruptcy. That's not extravagance, that's baseline adulthood in modern America. Here's the uncomfortable truth. That baseline now demands income that would have been considered comfortably upper middle class 20 years ago. That $75,000 benchmark isn't random. It's what happens when every essential category rises faster than wages for years on end. This isn't short-term inflation that fades away. It's a structural reset of what it costs to exist. Let's start with the category squeezing families the hardest: housing. The median monthly cost for homeowners with a mortgage reached roughly $2,350 in 2024, up from about $1,960 the year prior. A 4% jump in 12 months might sound manageable until you notice most salaries didn't rise 4%. More sobering, home ownership now consumes about 47% of median household income. The long-standing guideline says housing should stay near 30%. We're far beyond that. What used to be labeled financially risky is now standard. Renters aren't spared. Median rent climbed to approximately $1,487 per month in 2024. Add utilities, another $200 to $300 easily, and you're near $1,800 monthly. That's over $21,000 per year for shelter alone, and half of renters pay more than the median. It gets worse. In many cities, landlords use algorithmic pricing software that can quietly add around $800 per year to leases. Yes, software is actively optimizing rents upward. Individual tenants have almost no leverage against it. Now, layer in insurance. Homeowners' insurance premiums have risen for 26 consecutive quarters, over 6 years straight. Premiums are increasing roughly 40% faster than overall inflation. The national average ranges from about $1,750 to $2,500 annually. In certain states, homeowners are paying closer to $6,400 per year. That's over $500 per month in some places, more than many households spend on groceries. Roughly 12% of homeowners now carry no insurance at all. About half of them earn under $40,000. They're not reckless, they're priced out. They're gambling their financial future because coverage has become unaffordable. Food costs have permanently shifted higher too. Between 2020 and 2024, grocery prices rose 23.6% compared to overall inflation of 21.2%. That's not temporary sticker shock, that's the new floor. Surveys show 90% of American adults report stress about grocery bills. For the lowest income households, food consumes 32.6% of after-tax income. Even middle earners feel it every checkout trip. Food inflation continues around 3% annually, with certain categories spiking far higher. Beef and veal prices jumped 13.9% in the 12 months ending August 2024. If your cart feels lighter but your total is higher, you're not imagining it. Transportation is even more dramatic. From 2020 to 2024, transportation costs surged 34.4%, making it the fastest growing major expense category. This includes car prices, fuel, maintenance, insurance, and registration. In high-cost states like California, transportation ranks as the second largest expense after housing, compounding the burden. Healthcare adds another layer of instability. The U.S. spends over $600 billion annually on prescription medications, more per capita than any other country. Nearly 1 in 4 Americans struggle to afford prescriptions. Around 30% admit to skipping or rationing doses due to cost. Even insured Americans are cutting back. In late 2024, 8% reported not taking prescribed medications because of expense. 7% avoided needed medical care. 6% skipped mental health treatment. These are insured individuals blocked by deductibles and copays. When you combine housing, insurance, food, transportation, and healthcare, you start to see why $75,000 has become the new survival baseline. Not luxury, not indulgence, survival. Official statistics define middle class broadly, roughly $55,000 to $170,000 annually. But the lower end of that range no longer supports what previous generations considered middle class living. Geography complicates it further. In Jackson, Mississippi, about $49,000 crosses the middle-class threshold, 13% below the national mark. In the San Francisco metro area, you need roughly $66,700 just to enter the bottom tier, 17% above the benchmark. Same country, completely different realities. Psychologically, this shift is disorienting. A six-figure salary no longer stretches the way it once did. In many regions, $105,000 feels average once monthly bills stack up. People earning good money on paper feel like they're barely treading water.